Okay.
Okay, that's ready. Let's go.
Well, yeah, we will go. It is 5:30. All right, meeting is called to order. We need a roll call to determine if we have a quorum.
Todd Coppenall.
Here.
Karen Tepley.
Here.
Ryan Cairns. Here. Mark Jelenic. Here. Ray Wilson. Here. Lisa Miller.
Yep.
Chris Jarvis. Here. We have a quorum.
Excellent. Was this meeting properly noticed?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. Next up, approval of the minutes. Once the commission has had a moment to review those, entertain a motion to approve meeting minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from 3/26/25.
Motion from Karen Tepley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Jelenic. Is there discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Discussion and action items. Item 2, reconsider the application of Guru Ramdas Shah LLC for a conditional use permit to allow a tree service and auto repair garage or facility at 789 Saxonville Road, tax parcel ID 276-2100-7581. Mr. Williams, I have a question.
Shoot.
To start with, when I drive by there, I see, it looks like hanging baskets of flowers for sale.
Yeah, that came up in the last pictures that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that, or does it matter?
They did that last year too.
Well,
Did they?
Yeah.
okay, so I'm seeing an application for a conditional use permit for a tree service and auto repair garage or facility. Hanging baskets of flowers on that property, is this gonna be an issue, or does it have to be addressed in the conditional use permit?
No, it would be an auxiliary use to whatever the primary use of the business is.
So if we were to, if the city eventually approves this permit, they can do this, or do we have to mention that in a motion?
Is it, you said they did this last year, is it an annual tradition or are they?
I don't know that. I wasn't here last year, so I can't tell
I
you.
don't remember seeing them last year.
This business wasn't there last year.
Right.
Bindle Tire does this,
Correct.
but this business did not.
Yeah, it was that last week when I took those pictures was the first time I seen that.
Okay, well then, that's where we are. This is a new thing this year. I just wanna, I'm looking at auto repair and trees and watching flowers.
Right, well, the exact nature of the business is why we're back here discussing it again today.
Okay? Okay, I'm gonna start with you. Any further correspondence with the owner, any further concerns? Have they cleaned it up?
They've cleaned it up.
Okay, we'll go there.
Yep.
And Mr. Attorney, with regards to what's on the application, what's happening there, what do you have to say there?
So I researched the matter further, and unfortunately there has not yet been, I've not found a reason behind the 100-degree limitation that was discussed at City Council.
100 feet?
100 feet. What did I say?
100 degree?
Yeah,
Well, attorney, man, that's it, pivots.
And so while I do have some proposed language for how the zoning ordinance could be amended to allow a waiver of that or any other requirement, I caution against pursuing this without knowing why this was implemented in the first place. I was discussing with Mr. Williams. It is the only entry in the alternative or the conditional use permit list, which again is 44 items long. That has this 100-foot restriction on it.
What is a 100-foot restriction?
So there is a, under the conditional uses, there's a bunch of them listed.
Yeah.
And then last time I talked about how if it's not included, that is
Yeah.
presumed to be. Well, upon further review with time, there is an entry that says similar uses provided the structure in which the use is carried out shall not be located within 100 feet of any residential district.
Okay.
So the catch-all provision that I proposed last time I was here does exist, but carries with it a limitation of 100 feet from a residential district, and I believe it's adjacent, so.
Right.
Zero.
Right, surrounded by it, yeah.
There are homes on two sides, behind it and next to it.
Correct.
Okay, so your advice is not to pursue this till we figure that out. I believe at the last council meeting, we addressed the concern that if there was like a time limit to approve this before, are we okay?
Yes, because again, this is all in the service of acquiring additional information. It doesn't necessarily say that the landowner or the tenant has to provide that information. We are seeking amongst ourselves
Is
the
it-
information we need.
Is it then your advice to table this till the next plan commission meeting? Is it you think that we have to do?
I would postpone it indefinitely until a solution to the measure can, or options can be presented. Again, I don't know how long it will take if I can find an answer to why this restriction was put in place.
Do you know when it was put in place? You see a date?
I do not.
Mr. Perry, do you have any recollection?
No, I didn't even know about it.
Well, we didn't either until this one.
No.
Anything I'd ever heard. Anybody else ever had to deal? Okay. So your advice is to postpone indefinitely the application of Guru Ramdas Shah LLC for a conditional use permit to allow a tree service and auto repair garage or facility at 789 Saxonville Road until you can further investigate this and determine best course of action.
Yes.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Lisa. Is there discussion?
So, since we're not approving, we're not denying, we're basically just, we're gonna look at this later. Can they continue to operate as they're currently operating, even though they don't have a permit?
So because this is essentially on me to figure out, I'm not pursuing any enforcement action against them at this time.
Okay.
They have been made aware that they're operating without a permit and the potential consequences of that. I read out loud the enforcement mechanism, and I believe he was present for that.
He was.
But it's not my intention to punish someone else for my busy schedule.
Okay.
Do we know if they're planning on doing tree service in city limits, and have they provided insurance information?
Thank you, that was right on my tongue.
No, it's been addressed, but go ahead, Matt. I see you leaning forward. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, so his insurance policy wasn't up to date, so that way it was denied the first time. I did reach out to him, inform him that. I don't know if he ever did get back hold of Tess, but I know Tess has been in contact with him.
So this business was not approved by
Yeah.
the city, so no. At this point, he cannot.
That I know of.
I'm
I don't
coming,
know.
Karen. And he said in here once that he's doing this in other municipalities, but he's not been approved to do that in Richland Center until these things are addressed.
Mhm.
Karen?
So I have a question on the original, under the ordinance where it says, the request will not adversely affect public health, safety, and welfare, and it's checked, yes. There's a couple double negatives in there. Can you just clarify that? So you feel it's not a safety, public health, welfare issue? You don't feel it is?
Do you? I
Well,
guess is what I'd have to ask, because what safety do you see there?
well, it's pretty close to that sidewalk, and there's, the times I've driven by and I checked it out, you know, there are no people around there to monitor all the equipment and all the stuff that is really close to that sidewalk for kids and folks just walking by. I mean, you had mentioned they cleaned it up. I mean, when I drove by, there was still, you know, quite a few vehicles out there. I don't know if they're licensed, we didn't look.
I think if we drive around a lot of these auto repair shops, you're gonna find a lot of that. A lot of vehicles, that's what they're there for, or they're getting work done, or we can go back and look at a couple other ones that we've approved.
And that may be more of a nuisance issue than a zoning
Right.
issue too.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
So
so
there's-
there's military band and stuff like that becomes a hazardous material.
And
Yeah.
if there's intrusion onto the sidewalk, there are nuisance ordinances that we can enforce against that.
So then my question is he just gonna telephone run his tree service out of that?
I'm not sure.
Because I would not wanna see a big cherry picker out there and the stuff that they need to take down trees.
Mhm.
I'm just saying.
Well, good point, because it's not a large lot.
No, that's kinda
That's-
it. The
it's-
little girl came over by the gas station the other day. I about had a heart attack.
What happened?
Oh, she just wandered over, and I mean, she's 3 years old.
From the business?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what Bing was safety child
Yeah.
3. I about.
Whose child was it?
The lady who was inside by where the flowers are.
An employee who was
I'm
presumably
guessing, the
selling?
guy outside said he was grandpa. And that's my only reason. I mean, it's not for me to tell them what to do or not do, but those trucks are big, they're heavy, and if you got a little tiny.
Well, and as Karen and everybody said, it's a public sidewalk, so whether they're a little kid from the business or not, people will be there. Okay, all right, well, so, yes, nuisance ordinance, does that have bearing on whether or not to approve a conditional use permit?
Because we have not enforced any action against him at this time, then no. Because someone could be subject to nuisance basically covers everyone who lives in the city, so that would not be fair grounds to consider.
I would just check into what he's using for equipment.
And if he,
It's big.
knowing the lot, if it's, the cherry picker, I don't even know that would fit in the designated parking area, so I don't know that.
I haven't seen one there, but not saying he doesn't have one.
So again, if that is there for a long period of time or causes congestion or obstruction of traffic, then those would be, that would probably originate with the police officers.
Okay.
And are we dealing directly with one of the members of the LLC, or?
Yeah, well, yes, I don't remember the gentleman's name.
Jason.
Thank you. As far as I know, he's a member of the LLC.
It's not listed on
Shamrock?
the DFI.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's only one on the DFI.
Well, the DFI only gives you the registered
The option
agent
for- yeah.
for a business, so it's not necessarily the entire board.
Right, I get that.
Can you just confirm that with him when you see him
Yep.
next or speak to him
Yep.
next? Just so we know that, because that's what, he told me this is his business. So I'm just trying to make sure.
me as well, so
Okay.
I will clarify that though.
Okay, anyone else? So we have the motion and the second, no further discussion? Matt, we need a roll call.
Copperdoll,
Aye.
Templey,
Aye.
Cairns, Chelenic,
Aye.
Wilson, Miller,
Aye.
Jarvis,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, 3, discussion on furthering efforts in the downtown and the Connect Communities program. Karen, what do you got? I mean, tell everybody about Connect Communities a little bit.
Oh, okay, so Connect Communities is, I would call the, kind of the feeder group into the Main Street program, which is a statewide program. The WEDC handles the Wisconsin Main Street program. So it's kind of a stepping stone. So just as a visual, we have quite a few in the Connect Communities programs throughout the state of Wisconsin. And then these are the Main Street programs, so they're not as many. You can stay within the Connect Communities level of the program, if that's what you so choose, because there are certain guidelines that you have to meet once you even are granted membership into the Connect Communities. I think they only grant like 20 per year, and in the Main Street program, I believe it's only 3 per year. So you have to meet certain guidelines and that type of thing. And so, yeah, that's the quick story on the program, but it is obviously to further economic growth within your downtown.
Okay, and what benefit does that program bring? Like, what do we think would happen in our downtown if we were part of what they do?
Well, I don't have, they have a ton of stats on the website for WEDC, so I don't have all of that. I didn't
Okay.
know how deep we were gonna get into, but
Yep.
every community that's at least a part of Connect Communities, certainly has the resources of the WEDC grant programs, marketing, people that are involved in marketing. There's, let's see, we have, in the WEDC, we have, actually separate even from this program, there are folks that can help you business and community development, downtown development, so definitely have resources that we don't have, in a small community.
So if you look just at who's represented up here, there are actually a handful of downtown businesses who have ownership sitting here, or family. Chris, how are things downtown? To my point, I'm for development in every part of town, right? So tell me, you're downtown every day.
Well, I think there's a lot that we lack down there, as far as, aesthetically, as far as foot traffic. There's a lot of things that I saw within the comprehensive plan that I think we really need to push on. There's a lot of availability in those buildings that aren't being taken advantage of. I think there's some buildings down there that really just need to come down. There's a couple of them in particular that are falling apart so much that I'm surprised the inspector hasn't wanted to go in and take a look. They've actually got pieces falling off, similar to the one there next to Muller's.
That is going now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think something like this, the Main Street Connect, I think that's a good idea. Anything we can do to, get more people thinking that downtown is something that we can actually manage, because right now there's a lot of places that look like it's not managed at all.
Thank you. Okay, so what I would love, because again, every part of the city, if we can make it better, we should make it better.
Yep.
I would love to have any and all downtown property owners, business owners come in and greet us and talk to us about what's going on and what's on their mind.
Yep.
I'm glad that you're here. Yep, good. I'm coming.
That's a good idea.
Anything else? You got it?
No, I think I'm good.
Karen?
Yeah, so to Chris's point, there are quite a few, at least I saw 3 items in our comprehensive plan that could certainly help our downtown. I think we also have to realize that, the city, well, as I mentioned, we do have the Greater Richland Tourism and the Greater Richland Chamber. Now, tourism is connected to the city somewhat.
Definitely.
But the chamber is not. So for the city to have some connection to what is happening in our downtown, I think is important. Just looking at the West Dallas, I know it's a larger community, but within their downtown entity, they have like the design committee, which handles things like planters and street pole banners and a lot of things that come right to the city. So they could certainly aid in helping some of that economic development. They have a committee for that, and grand opening celebrations, filling vacancies in downtown, business retention, organization. They have cost-effective ways for our businesses to market themselves. And then promotions, all the events that are handled through this entity first. So you have one entity reporting or asking for permission to the city, where you don't have, 4, 5, 7 different event planners, coming to the city or to committees. So there's that part of it too. And while Connect Communities and Main Street are certainly great programs, there are others. There's a Create Wisconsin, which is a 25-year-old program also connected to WEDC, and things like Strong Towns, which is an entity out of Minnesota, but kind of headed up by an engineer and just really focusing on safe streets and that type of thing. But they also focus on conversations, community conversations, so that's kind of their core. And then another gentleman by the name of, what was his name? Jeff Siegler, there we go. He has, kind of a similar thing. His background is a urban planning, also was the state coordinator for Main Street, but also, has the ability to, help our downtown if we need it. So I know Chris and I had a couple of conversations about possibly getting members of the downtown together, owners, maybe go through some of these and just see what lands with them.
I think it would be great to have some of them down here.
Yeah, I think after that initial meeting, I think it would be great to then,
You
come
bet.
down here and report back what kind of took place.
Mr. Jelenic, you're downtown often.
Mhm.
You have anything to say on this topic?
No, I just would agree with Chris's sentiments about, some places in downtown do a really good job and other places look like they are potential safety hazards.
Okay,
But they're not our buildings, they're the
Right,
town, so
yeah.
it's one of those, kind of goes back to our last, is how involved should we, or are we allowed to be in someone else's issue if it's not causing a safety hazard? We may not approve, which I like the idea of, hey, can we make this all better? But at what point are we allowed to?
right,
That's a little rough,
Okay.
So I'm not disagreeing with this at all. I just don't know where we can step with it, if that
okay,
makes an answer.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, good answer.
yeah, so there are buildings that I would completely agree with Chris, Richland Center would be served much better without them because of safety issues, but it's not my building.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask Lisa and Ray too, and I'm gonna skip to Ryan for just a minute, because again, has a business in the downtown, is there all the time. Comments on improving the downtown, Ryan, anything?
I'd agree with what's already been said.
Okay. Lisa?
You don't have any stores down there that, foot traffic.
Mhm.
I've yet to have one of your pizzas.
Yeah.
What? Oh, my goodness.
His hours and my hours don't work, and that's the bad part, they don't work. And it's, you're working hard, but yeah, it'd be nice,
Yes.
but you have some buildings down there that,
So,
yeah.
kind of, okay, Ray?
Yeah.
Well, I agree with everything that's being said here, but my main concern is the buildings that are being used as warehouses downtown.
Here, this guy. This has been addressed many times, Ray.
Yes, it has.
Yes, it has, and so when we get done in here, if you want to sit with me and Michael, we can do that. Would you like to do that?
Yes, I would.
Okay, because we can do that. Okay, so in my opinion, I don't disagree with any of this. And if there are things that will help the downtown, I think that's great. I also know, because I think it should be pointed out, that while that's true, and I don't disagree with any of it, a great deal of effort has been put into the downtown. We got a grant for the Locker, we got a grant for Los Amigos, we're working on one to put a business where Gables was, we're trying to get a hotel on land the city bought to put a hotel on it, trying to bring traffic down there. We got dialysis done, which moved the pharmacy down there. We got TechCom done, which put the credit union on the highway. Verizon's downtown, so it isn't all bad, but I totally agree with what you guys were saying. And the point for me is, whatever the details, anytime we can make any part of our city better, we should be doing it. Any part of the city. And if there are things we can do downtown that'll make it better than it is, that's fine. In fact, it's great. So what would you like to, any of you, what would you like to do next?
I think a meeting with the business people in the downtown area.
Chris has been talking to business owners, right? So, I think we organized that, and I don't know how much of this is, part of planning. I mean, planning is involved in the comprehensive plan, but I don't expect this to be, a regular item on the planning schedule, but.
And I hear some of this and I'm thinking, isn't this economic development a little bit too? That we have, that should probably be.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the reason for some of this is when you do have a group of concerned citizens and business owners, that some of that work can help economic development
Yeah.
do their work.
For sure.
So if or you have a committee that's, has a listing of all the vacant, buildings or, offices and whatnot are downtown, then people can go to that committee and find out, and then go to economic development, so that you don't need all the foot traffic in economic development store.
Nope, I agree, and for any, and this is, I know this is being preserved on video and will be on YouTube for anybody in the community, if you see a building that you're concerned about, that's the zoning guy right there, that we didn't have before. That's the city attorney right there. If you have a concern that you think should go there, and we do have a nuisance ordinance, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows who Billy Jones is. So the pieces are in place. We've cleaned several properties up in town, there's no doubt about that. And there's 3 of them that I can think of that have been torn down. And if there needs to be more, there will be more. I'm all for that. Just, the resources are, if you have a nuisance ordinance complaint, that's the chief of police. If you think there's a zoning issue, that's Matt Williams. If you think it goes deep enough and you need the city attorney, reach out to Michael or call me and I'll get him. We can address these things, and I think it's great that we're talking about it. Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my question. So this came up from the comprehensive plan to planning. From this point forward, do we need anything from either planning or the city to go forth with their blessing or whatever you,
To do
the
which,
A-OK?
a blessing to do which thing?
Well, to initiate any of these groups within our downtown business.
So you mean like being part of Connect Communities, or do you just mean like meeting with a bunch of business owners to start the process?
Yeah, to start the process. We don't want to start the process
I
if,
don't think
if there's
we could just meet,
something with the
right?
city
There's no
that we
reason.
need to do first.
So in a quick scan, one of the requirements seems to be a group focused on downtown issues, which to me, I believe would be the Chamber of Commerce, unless there's other groups that I'm just not
Right.
aware of.
The Chamber of Commerce is not part of our city like they are in
Right.
most communities. So that's why there is no city tie to the chamber. So as I think we all recall, the beginning of Pumpkin Fest got to be a little out of whack just because they don't have the connection to the city.
And I think in the, Rod, back in time, I think the chamber was affiliated with the city. I could be wrong, I think
Yep.
it was. And then for a time, it was gone. We had no chamber. So when this one formed, it's sort of its own thing. Is there benefit to affiliating them with the city again, or not?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there have been some conversations to that fact, but they have a specific line item in their bylaws that they will not be associated with the city or the county.
Do we know what led to that?
Yes,
What led to that?
when the city and the county
Yeah.
took it all
Yeah.
out. So
Okay.
they, because at that time, economic development, tourism, and the chamber were all connected together. All
Yeah.
3 of them were connected, and when they defunded one, they all left. They were all,
Okay.
So
Mr.
that's
Wilson, sorry, thank you.
Didn't the city at one time have a Main Street project?
yes.
Yes.
What happened to that?
Well, your groups are only as strong as the people involved. Sue Patch was the
Yeah.
president of it. And I think there was some disagreement. I think the Main Street program was pretty heavy into maintaining historical
Right.
architecture, and they were pretty firm in that. So they had to think about awnings, they had to think about, specific, really small facade type things that did not set and fit well in the community. So at that point, it just kind of faded away.
Okay, further, so Mr. Wendell to pursue a simple meeting with downtown property owners, merchants, whatever. We don't really think we can just do that, I don't know, we
Yep.
couldn't. But to take it further and specifically try to join, on behalf of the city, join any group, I suppose we probably would have to run that through. I don't know if that's planning though.
I would, off the top of my head, just direct Director Glassman to be involved. That seems like it's in his wheelhouse. I don't know what the requirements of the application process are, so some of them are very stringent and only certain groups can apply, others are not. But no, if someone knows how to apply for it, this this committee doesn't necessarily need to take any action to allow that person to do that.
Okay, when a meeting is scheduled, I would very much like to be part of it, whenever it is. And I think it's a really good idea. And then from there, we'll see where this goes. Does anybody have anything else to add to this tonight? I think it's a great topic. Anything else? Okay, so that's that one for tonight? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great. Comprehensive plan, does anybody else have an update on anything since the last time we met? Because I have a feeling, I'm gonna ask you, the things in the comprehensive plan, do you think would help the downtown? You said
I
there,
think they would be fantastic. I think there's,
oh, which ones?
there's parts of, well, there's several bullet points on just the downtown.
What moved you when you read the plan?
Well, immediately, it was about aesthetics, and it was about making all the businesses a place for people to go and starting to create more foot traffic. I mean, that's what the whole thing was about, was moving people around in the downtown and making them comfortable there.
Mm-hmm.
Between that one and the previous plan for downtown. Because the previous plan is still on the books as something that we're trying to do along with the comprehensive plan. And there were a lot of neat points in that as well, so.
Okay, so.
But the comprehensive plan itself, just the downtown stuff, if you look at the first few bullet points, it makes sense. And one of the very first ones is the warehousing issue.
Okay, and again,
Yeah.
this has been addressed multiple times,
Yep.
and can be again, we'll need the city attorney.
Yep.
Big
There are at least 3 mayors that have attempted to address that. But yes, I'm fully aware. Okay, is that all you had on that?
Yeah.
On the comprehensive
Yeah,
plan?
I mean, I didn't prep for that, but, yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is the truth. I didn't
Yeah.
ask you to serve on this just to get pizza.
Yeah. You don't get pizza.
No, I'm aware. Okay, anything further on the comprehensive plan? Okay, reports and updates. Matt, anything else this commission needs to hear just going on in zoning? What else is on the horizon? What's the Foundry doing? What is the Foundry doing?
I haven't had an update from them lately.
But what are they doing?
Their plan is to put an addition on the front part of that building. They were gonna expand. Their owner of that business actually wants to spend a lot more money there. They realize that it's a growing industry, so it sounds like they were gonna dump millions of dollars into that plan.
So they came and got permits already?
Nope.
They don't have them?
Nope.
What did they do?
They had me go down there. They wanted to get kind of a layout of the setback requirements, any fencing requirements. So I met with Dave Loomis down there, which is the plant manager.
Yeah.
Him and his crew, we sat down. I took some prints that the city had on file of them buildings in the past, like as they were building on. They want to know kind of what the foundations were, how it was built. So kind of helped them out that way for their new contractor to kind of get an idea how to structure the new building.
Okay, so we know what they want to do, but we don't have a timeline.
Correct.
Okay.
We also have Taco Bell.
I was gonna ask that, what's the timeline over there?
Sometime this year, they're pushing, I've got a set of plans. I don't have a state approved set of plans yet, but it's gonna be a complete tear down and rebuild, about the same footprint. They're just updating the aged building and facilities.
So is it a tear down and rebuild or a new
Tear down.
model? So a
Tear
completely
down,
new building?
correct.
So there will be a time when Taco Bell is closed because they will be ripping the building out?
Correct,
Okay, but we don't know when, just this year,
correct.
okay?
And then Quick Trip just sent over
Quick Trip down by Walmart?
East,
That
yep,
location,
east,
Quick
yep.
Trip?
They just sent over, I just got it in the mail, blueprints and site excavations of an addition. And they're actually going to, will be on the planning next month they're combining both their lots there. That just helps them in future endeavors. Their setbacks, they're one lot versus their two. If there was two, they have to meet certain setbacks. So I suggested that they combine those lots. They did do that. Like I said, that will be in front of you guys next planning meeting. They will be a conditional use permit as well. So they are another one that is operating without one, which is really weird because they have one for the one in town, but they don't have one on record for down there. So they did apply for that one as well. But ultimately, it's gonna be a whole new parking lot. The gas pumps are gonna be moved, the diesel pumps are gonna be moved forward. And then they're gonna put an addition, about 1,000 square foot addition on the rear of that building.
For the kitchen, I believe.
For the kitchen, correct, yep. And then I think they're just gonna do a little remodel on the inside, move some stuff around,
And what's the timeline on that?
this year as well.
Okay, have you heard anything further on the family that came down that wanted to demolish what's behind the dairy and build something new? Have you heard anything else from them?
No,
Okay, I don't even know if you, okay, that happened before you.
that was right before I started, but I did hear that he was supposed to be coming down because the guy that's gonna be tearing it down asked me if the permits were pulled.
Okay, so that is moving.
It's moving, just I haven't heard, nobody stopped in, it's just hearsay as of now.
Okay, do you need contact for the family or do you have?
I haven't,
Okay, because I do if you don't.
nope, I haven't,
Okay, please update me
yep,
so that we don't end up with a scenario where somebody's got a wall knocked in and we don't have a permit.
okay.
Okay, anybody with any other questions for Mr. Williams? Thank you. Anyone with anything else to add on reports and updates? Okay, future agenda items? Anybody got anything you want on next month? Okay, next meeting date, fourth Wednesday, May 28th, does that work?
Yep.
Okay, May 28th, 5:30 PM. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second? Whoa, we got a motion second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one's carried. Mr. Wilson, Mr. Anybody who wants to, please stick around for a couple minutes?
Yeah.